Hey everyone, GW Xavier Mohr with More Memories coming to you from Indiana. Just bringing you a new series I'm going to do where I'm going to work through a project playbook in the scrap journal size. So if you're not familiar with the scrap journal, it's also formerly known as Creative Memories Happy Album. And that size is the 6.75 or 6 3/4 by 10. And here's just a sample of that size page. And so what I'm going to do is work through one of the project playbooks and convert all of those layouts into that scrap journal size. I'm going to work with the Legacy of Love collection, which is a heritage collection from this year, 2025. And it's a really nice collection. It's got a lot of tonals with neutrals. And what's nice about that piece is that a lot of older photographs, and that's essentially what a heritage album is mapping out heritage or lineage on one or both sides of your family and incorporating documents, photos that you have. And so a lot of those older photos that we might be able to get our hands on, or that might be in old family photo albums, are typically black and white, or they're in sepia tones. And so when Creative Memories makes a heritage collection, they keep that in mind. And we get more of the tonals in the whites, beiges, tans, blacks, and grays. And when they pull them all together in a really nice way. It's going to really make our photos stand out. And if we like or find a way to add a little color into some of those layouts, it will even bring that out more and make them look even better. So the Legacy of Love, what you see in front of you is the Legacy of Love Buy It All bundle that was available earlier this year. Came with the Project Playbook, matte pack, laser cut borders, sticker pack, designer paper pack, laser cut embellishments, and the gemstone chain BMC. This BMC has sold out and is not available on the website, but your advisors might have it. I myself have sold out of this as well, so this is my personal one that I've got left. But for these layouts, we're not going to need this BMC today. So I'm going to put that aside. The project playbooks are new this year as well, and what they do is they take the collection and they give us several layouts to work with, and they're designed in the 12 by 12 size. So we have to do a little converting around that if we're going to use these layouts for an 8 by 8 size or the 6 3/4 by 10 size. And so if you're new to the playbook, right, it gives us a cutting guide and which papers we're going to be using in cutting for the projects that they give us. And this particular playbook, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 2-page spreads. So that's 8, and a 1-page spread, which makes 9. I'm actually going to make this 1-page spread into a 2-page today with our scrap journal size, because I really do like how this came out. I was kind of bummed it was a 1-pager, but like anything else, we can figure out how to make a 1-page into a 2-page and vice versa. So that'll be fun. And the project playbooks, they tell us which papers. They will also then label them for us so that when we are in our projects, they will tell us which pieces to be using for what and where. Okay, so kind of similar to a sketch, not quite a sketch though. So like I had mentioned, we're going to be using or working on project 1 for this session. So I'm going to put this down. We're going to clear some space here. So I'm going to put my adhesives to the side. I'm not going to use any embellishments or stickers or mats right now, because I want to just get the base pages together. And then when I come back to that with the photos that I'm going to use, I'll then figure out what embellishments or stickers or mats that I might want to use. But I do need one of the laser cut borders for this, and it is this nice filigree vine type of border. that's in there. So fish that one out and set that aside. Our paper pack, we're going to be using the monogram letters sheet and black cardstock. And what's nice about this project is that the polka dot print we see here is actually the opposite side of the monogram letters. So we're going to be using more of this sheet in this one project. There will be a couple scraps left to use to play with in other layouts if you like it, or if you make cards, you could use it for cards, whatnot, or other type of embellishment backgrounds. But I'm actually going to set aside the monogram paper right now. I'm going to work with my black cardstock. So the first thing I want to do with my trimmer and my straight blade in there, and fun fact, using the self-leveling arm, on the opposite side of that arm is a little foot that will pop out and just kind of give some extra leveling to make sure we're on as flat of a surface as possible when we make our cuts. I'm going to take my black cardstock, and I'm going to need the 6 3/4 or 6.75 by 10. So that's the first piece I'm going to make. I'm going to come to my 6 3/4 and cut. And then my 10". Even with glasses, I can't see, folks. Jeez. Not good. All right. So I've got my piece. It's going to nestle nicely onto my page here. And I'm good to go with that. What I actually am going to do is I'm going to cut out the middle section because I want to save some of the cardstock, use it in other projects, etc. And so how do I do that? There are a lot of videos out there that will use binder clips to place along the track to make sure that you stay within those guidelines of those measurements. I'm going to freeform it because I'm a rebel like that. And on the side, we have this guide line on our blade housing. So I can line that up along the ruler where the measurement I want is, press down, release the blade, and make my cut to where I need to go. So that's what I'm going to use along here, and that's why folks will often use binder clips and place them, because you can see it gets a little tight trying to figure and see where that guideline is landing on the ruler. But I was trying and working with the clips earlier. It wasn't working out the best way for me, so I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this the way I'm going to do it, and that's fine. So I'm going to turn my trimmer, I don't know, if usually this is what, 180 degrees? I don't know. I'm just going to turn it on the side here so I can see my ruler better. Okay. I'm going to bring my paper in. I want a 1/4 inch border around. So I'm going to bring my paper to the 1/4 inch line. On the trimmer, that's about where the mat meets the trimmer. I'm going to close my trimmer. And the measurement that I need from the top to the bottom, which is 10 inches total, I need to come in at the 7/8 mark from the 7/8, which, if we're not familiar with 7/8, I need to come in from here at 5/8 down to 7/8. I really hate those fractions, so 5/8 is, if we come to 1/2, it's the midpoint between 1/2 and 1/4, similar to 7/8. it's the midpoint between 3/4 and the next inch. Okay, so from the top, I'm going to come down to 5/8 and cut down to 7/8. So I need to just find that mark on here. I'm going to flip my paper. I'm going to do my long edges first, bring my paper back in to that 1/4 mark. And I'm going to do this again. I'm going to rotate, bring this in. So now I'm going to have to pay attention because I'm still going to come down 5/8, but I need to find my mark here. So one handy way I can do that, right? I can bring this down. I can get my guideline to where my cut is, right? And that's going to bring me to or I can slide this down. It's going to bring me to about 6.5 on this end. So I'm going to get my 1/4 spot here, close, come down to 5/8. I'll come down to 6.5, which is a bit of an easier mark to find. I'm very close. I just missed a little bit, which isn't terrible. I'll be okay. All I need to do for where I was just slightly off, I'll just take my micro tip scissors here and I will make those quick snips in here. That's why I like these micro tips, because they just get right in there really well. And you can make those cuts pretty quick. And some of it is only because I didn't have enough force on my trimmer, probably because it was hard to find where that line was that I needed to end at. So oh, I didn't fully press down here. Okay. So that's the other thing. We want to make sure that we're pressing down, making the cuts. All right. I'm going to slap this onto my page real quick. So I'm going to get my tape runner. And you can use whichever tape runner you like, if you like to use the regular or repo. I'm just going to get it on here all along. Okay, got my page. I'm just gonna line it up in here. Awesome, set that aside. Grab my trimmer again. Grab my monogram paper. Get my top of my arm out here. So now I'm going to need, because I don't need a full, right, 6 3/4 by 10. I'm gonna bring that measurement in a little bit. I'm actually going to do a 6 1/2 by 9 3/4 on this page. So I'm gonna come to my 6 1/2 mark. And then I'm gonna come to my 9 3/4 mark. Set my trimmer aside. I'm gonna get my adhesive here. Got my page. And now I'm gonna inlay this. Awesome. Set that aside. Next, I'm going to get my trimmer again because I need to make the triangles of the cutout here that are in the corners. So this in the 12 by 12 size is an 8 by 8. Converting that into scrap journal size, you can either do a 4 1/2 by 4 1/2, or you can do a 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. Either one will work, and you'll have enough of the filigree laser cut border to work with. I'm gonna go with 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. So I'm gonna take the other half of the page that I didn't yet use, and I'm just gonna bring this into 4 3/4. And by 4 3/4. Okay. Now I'm going to flip over, and the cutting guide says cut in half diagonally. So I'm going to position my paper diagonally here. The corners are going to get onto my cut strip guide here on my mat. I'm going to line those up as best I can there. And then I'm going, oop, I moved a bit. All right, and then I'm just going to come in and do my cut. I got my triangles. I can put my trimmer to the side here now. I'm gonna get my silicone mat and my laser cut border just on the side there, ready. Now, I made this a 2-page spread, so you're gonna repeat the same steps for the right-hand page, which I went ahead and pre-made so that we can see ultimately what we're gonna do here. Because the triangle placement might matter for us. You know, if I want these to kind of match more like a traditional 2-page spread and mirror each other, I might do this with my triangles. So that way my filigree border will pull through on the bottom. If I'm not too concerned about that and I kind of just want to duplicate both sides, I could do that as well. But since I kind of like this better, I'm going to go with this. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere my triangles. And I'm going to take care to not really put adhesive too close along the edge because I need to tuck in my border a little bit. So I'm going to offset that just enough. And I'm going to come in maybe about a 1/4 inch from bottom and the side or so. And I'm just going to lightly put it down in case I have to reposition. Or you could use repo tape for that as well. I tend to just use my repo tape a lot with borders and such than I do pages and such. But to each their own. You know, if I want to, I can bring these in and I can, right, line these up a little bit more. Okay. Now, I want to get my trimmer again. I'm going to take my filigree border and I'm going to cut 2 5/8 pieces here. So one border is going to work for this 2-page layout because we only get one border in this pack. So I'm just going to get level here. There we go. And I'm just going to bring in my border to the 2 5/8 mark, which again is the midway between 2.5 and 2 3/4. And I'm just going to cut that with my trimmer, just because I'll trim off the edges of that leaf, so I might just make that one a little longer. I got that. And then this one, and so I'm left with a little bit left over. Maybe I can integrate that somewhere into another layout or an embellishment. We'll see. Right. Get my silicone mat, my repo tape, and I'm ready to start placing these pieces. Right, so I might go put this one on this end because it seems like it might fit well with where this one picks up on the right hand side. Maybe I flip it over. Might like how that place is even might be better with how I need to tuck this in and such. So I might do that, and then the top. So yeah, do it that way. Get my repo tape on. I'm going to take my multi-purpose tool. I'm going to just find that little opening there, slide it in, and then just figure out where is going to be the best spot to put this overall. Okay. The top doesn't necessarily matter because I'm not trying to make any type of flow or connection per se. So I can be a little more, whichever way I want to go here, which I might do that. You know, and since we had a little extra, you know, if you wanted to push that cut to the next cutting line, I probably wouldn't. Well, maybe you could do 2 3/4 if you wanted, and really clear the triangle fully. But you could certainly do that as well. I think this way is going to be the best way to go. In here, tuck you in. Sometimes I'll use tweezers as well for some of this, just because it's easier. We'll go there. Awesome. So here I've got my base pages. And so now I can come in with my mats, with my pictures. What size pictures? Yes, we could go with a 4x6, 6x4, but we're only going to really able to get maybe one of those on each page. And you'd still have a little room maybe for a little journal section, maybe if you wanted, or maybe in some embellishment. But if you're trying to fit some more size, you know, more pictures onto the page, we're going to need to go into some smaller sizes. So a 4x4, again, you'll get one on there unless you want to cover up or tuck it into here. You could get probably another one down here on both sides. 3x4s, you can definitely get 2 3x4s on here. And of course, the smaller we go, the more we can probably fit. We can probably get 3 3x3s. 3.5 by 3.5 would also work. We could get at least 2 of those on there, because again, we have to think of mats as well. And depending on what type of mat you like, if you prefer like the 1/2-inch mat, or you're going to need more room, so you're going to need a smaller photo. I tend to go with thinner mats. I like kind of that thinner mat, so I will typically do I'll do a 1/8 around mat for my pictures, and I'm really liking the double mat look lately. So I will double mat onto bright white and then onto a color, and so I will make my bright white about that 1/8 size for my photo, and then the color mat I will then go out to the next 1/8 mark, which might be around a quarter, depending on the size of the photo as well. Sometimes I crop my pics to make things fit a little bit better. But here we go, project 1 of the Legacy of Love Project Playbook in the scrap journal size. So join me again for project 2, which here's a nice sneak peek of that. We're going to be using that nice diamond print with the BMC of the gemstone chain, some more black, and some brown print in there as well. So looking forward to figuring that one out and bringing that to you. So again, thanks for joining. Hope you had fun, and hope you have a great time creating. And if you need any of these products, any of these supplies, by all means, reach out to me or your favorite advisor. You can always shop with us also on our CM websites. Mine in particular is creativememories.com/cm/gm83, GW Xavier Mohr in Indiana. And thanks for joining. Have a great one and happy scrapping. Thanks.